Awesome. I think we are live now. Welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thank you all for joining us today to talk about the RFP that we've issued for a repower of a diesel school bus to an electric school bus. My name is Adrian Gomez, and I'm the Senior Program Manager at Fourth. I'm leading this project alongside Lucia Mosca, who will introduce herself right now. And we're working with Cliff and Craig from Beaverton School District. A few things to go over before we get started here. Attendees may submit questions in the attendee chat, and these questions will only be visible to us on the panel, and then we'll go ahead and provide answers to the questions that you all submit. Um, we'll do some quick introductions. Like I said, my name is Adrian Gomez. I'm the senior program manager, one of the senior program managers here at Fourth. And it's a pleasure to be here with all of you. Lucia.
Hi everyone, my name is Lucia Mosca and I am a program associate for the electric school bus program at Fourth.
I'm Cliff Farrell. I'm the transportation maintenance supervisor for the Beaverton School District.
And hi, I'm Craig Beaver. I'm the administrator for transportation for the Beaverton School District.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for the introductions. I'll provide a quick recap of this project. So basically, Fourth received funding from the American Rescue Plan Act (ARPA). In 20 this earlier this year, we applied for the funds last year, and through these funds, we're going to be doing some electric school bus outreach and education. And there's also funding for this repower and some outreach and education around that. So really, the goals of this project are, to contribute to BSD's efforts to acquire electric school buses, and at the same time, we wanna be able to share out the feasibility of repowered buses, and the benefits that stem from them, whether it's financial benefits, and then highlighting that they have similar benefits to new electric school buses. Um, so kind of with that said, Cliff or Craig, do you want to do a bit of a background about Beaverton School District? You can talk about how many students you all have in your school district, how many electric school buses BSD has, and the charging infrastructure that you all use.
Right. So Beaverton School District has about 40,000 kids in it. And of that, we transport almost 25,000 every day. We have over 300 school buses we do that with. We're the largest school transportation department in the state. Right now, we have two electric buses, Type B 84 passenger buses in service. We have two more that are due for delivery next month or in January, and we're in the process of purchasing 10 more right now. We also already have charging infrastructure in place for 8 chargers. They're all level 2 chargers at this point, but we're expanding that to a total of 30 charging stations, 4 of which will be DC fast chargers. We so alternative fuel has been big for us. We already have 67 of our buses are propane. We're switching over to renewable propane and renewable diesel. So we're committed to emissions reduction, reducing our carbon footprint, and taking the forefront in the state of Oregon in the electrification of school buses. The two buses we have were the first two electric school buses in service in the state of Oregon. They came online in 2020, and so we will, with the completion of this purchase, we'll have the largest electric school bus fleet in the state as well. So as part of that, we are looking to, as Adrian said, we're looking at a repower project to see kind of a pilot to see how that works. Since electric school buses are very expensive, we just finished an RFP, and they range anywhere from about $370,000 to $430,000 for an brand new electric school bus. So if we can find a way to repower them, then at a considerable savings, then that certainly makes the project more viable.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Craig. Cliff, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I think Craig covered it all.
You know,
Awesome.
one thing I will add is that we have a dozen highly trained technicians here that do school bus repair and maintenance. However, we do not want to get into the actual servicing of the electric batteries and that type of thing. So that is something to keep in mind. The normal school bus repairs and things like that, we're certainly capable of doing and willing to do, but internal repairs on batteries and electric motors at this point, we are not prepared to do that. We're not trained to do that. So that would be something that each bidder would need to want to assume the maintenance on the internal workings of the battery and the power system.
Awesome. Thank you for pointing that out, Craig. Um, so to keep us moving along, and again, to the attendees, if you have any questions, please submit them via the attendee chat. We have a couple of questions that we identified that could potentially come up. We'll go over those now. So I think the first one is just kind of describing what the steps of the application process are. And so, in short, the application or the window to submit an RFP is open. It's going to be open until December 2nd. I think by 5 p.m. all RFPs, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, all RFPs need to be submitted. And then what we're going to do is this is the committee that's going to be reviewing the RFPs that we receive, and we're going to be doing that soon after we the window closes. And then what's going to happen is between the second and before the holidays in December, we'll make a determination of what the three to five highest scoring proposals are, and then we're going to invite them to expand on their proposals through a presentation in mid-January. Once we go through that process and we've the bidders have had a chance to do a presentation with regards to their proposals, we will be sending out letters of intent to basically award in mid February with the intention of completing a contract by mid-April, and then work kicking off, sometime in June. And so that's the timeline, the process of the application that we have right now. Are there any questions from any of the attendees with regards to the process? I'm not seeing any come through. But if anything comes to mind, feel free to again just drop the question in the chat. The other question that we have here is what bus has BSD identified for this repower, and is there any flexibility with the bus? And so I'll leave that up to Craig and Cliff to answer that.
Cliff, I'll let you go talk about that.
So we have a Type C selected. It's kind of a West Coast thing, 217-inch wheelbase. We want to kind of stick with that. We do have flexibility, but what that looks like, we'll have to get kind of discussed and everything. But that's the bus we have put forward. We don't have anything else. We could look somewhere else, but we want a Type C 217-inch wheelbase bus to repowered. But like I said, there's other options out there, but that's what we really want to get repowered.
Are there any other specifications that BSD is looking for once for the repowered bus?
I think as long as it meets Oregon minimum standards, which should be attached to the RFP as well, which our bus does. It already meets the Oregon minimum standards. So with that, it just has to guidelines right there.
Right. And we're looking certainly nothing less than 100 miles, usable miles on a single charge. That would be that's a hard floor. Hopefully we can get more than that. This bus is typically used in special needs transportation. Um, it's not a it does not have a lift on it, which so you don't need to worry about that. But the bus typically drives. These buses typically drive 70 to 80 miles per day, and so it'll be using a level 2 overnight charge type of thing. But please know we're primarily a Bluebird fleet. We don't have any internationals to use, no Thomas buses to use. We Again, the 217-inch wheelbase is a hard line. We don't have any 72 passenger buses. We don't employ them here at all. So we're pretty we're pretty fixed on those types of things, those parameters.
Awesome. Thank you, Craig. We have a question here. So the question is your 217 wheelbase Type D, an FE, or RE model?
Neither. It's a Type C, so that's a conventional school bus where the engine is behind the front axle and the driver's cab is behind. The driver's compartment is behind the engine, so it's a conventional model. It's not a Type B. It's a Type C. It's a Charlie.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that, Greg. Okay, cool. Thanks. I must have misheard. All right, awesome. We got that question squared away.
I misspoke a little bit. Actually, I'm sorry. The bus that we have in mind actually does have a wheelchair lift on it, so that's something to consider from a powering standpoint. The electrical will have to power the wheelchair lift as well. It's a Braun wheelchair lift.
Awesome. Let me see if that's got anything here. All right, let's go ahead and move along. The other question that we have here is, does the repower have to take place in Washington County, Oregon? I think there is a strong preference for it to take place in Washington County and just in Oregon generally. I think there's some flexibility for the work to take place somewhere else. But I think there's questions around, are these like the transportation, the logistical costs for this, are these going to be incurred by the contractor, or what sort of negotiation needs to happen there? Right? Does anybody feel differently about that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And I do see that another question came through. So we got one more pre-planned question to answer, and then we'll go into the live Q&A session, and we'll address this question that just came in right now. And then finally, what are members of the evaluation committee looking for in a proposal? So I'll say for me, I'm just looking for a well thought out plan, right, that we can follow. It's got a good clean budget that we can take a look at. We want to be able to reference previous work that the bidder has done, so we definitely want some sort of references there. I think there's I'm from the school of thought that there's nothing wrong with over communicating, right? So if if the more information we have, the better it is for us to kind of get to know the process that's being outlined, the history of the organist or the company, and so on and so forth.
I would say for me that I would be looking for, I would say that either that the vendor has had experience doing these type of repowers on school buses or some other medium to heavy duty vehicle, or that they do have a solid plan about what completing this project would look like, as well as showing that they have had some thought about what running into challenges and resolving those challenges would look like.
I think for me, just piggybacking off that, is just the past experiences of the vendor, as well as access to maintenance if we run into maintenance issues. a good point of contact, a good customer service, training on the product if available. But just on my end, it's just maintenance and being able to get that help if we need it.
Awesome. Thank you, Cliff. Craig, anything you'd like to add?
No, I think you all pretty much covered it.
Awesome. Thank you all for sharing your insights. So we can finally move on to the live Q&A session or portion of the webinar today. And so we do have a question here. Yeah, and it reads, do you have a set of representative drive cycles, speed versus time, that are typical of the range of vehicles of cycles the vehicles is used for, or would be tested for range? So let me copy this and put it into our chat here so that presenters can see it.
And I got to be honest with you, I'm not quite sure what exactly they're looking for. I mean, we know we have static routes for all of them, and they don't vary very often. So we know if the route shows 65.9 miles, 9 days out of 10, that's almost exactly what the driver is going to drive. So I'm not quite sure what they're looking for. It's not dynamic; it's very static. Everything's pre-planned on the routing. The drivers are not free to make their own way unless there's some sort of traffic issue, and if there is, that's going to be a minimal deviation. So I'm just not quite sure. I think, again, 75 miles per day per vehicle is what we're looking for, and that's why, for usable mileage, that kind of thing. I mean, what do we spec normally, Cliff? As far as our ISB7 motors, what are those? 250 horsepower motors and 600 foot-pound of torque. What are they usually?
For our Type C, it's 200 horsepower.
Right. So I mean, for an ICE motor, again, 200 horsepower, 600 foot of torque. If that gives you any help, that's what that's what our spec is for that. So we're essentially looking for a minimum, the electrical equivalent at a minimum for that. Although we do know torque is going to be much, much higher than an ICE motor.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And I hope that answered the question that was asked. I don't know if in the attendee chat we can get confirmation or maybe some follow-up questions to the answer. Not seeing anything, so that may have done it. Are there other questions that the attendees may have? Not seeing any more questions coming through. Are there any other things that we'd like to share with the attendees? I mean, this thing might end at 30 minutes early, so I'm going to use a couple minutes to provide any other information that we may have or things that come to mind for the attendees.
I mean, we've pretty much hit again with the what kinds of things that I just hear somebody come up with one. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. So a follow-up to the question that was previously asked. It states here, drive cycles represent how many stops, speed ramp up and deceleration, etc., that show how and when torque is needed.
We don't have any studies like that. I have to be honest with you. We have no studies. I understand what you mean now. And yes, no, we don't have any studies like that. If that's what's needed for bidders to make an informed bid, then we can certainly develop that and run some tests over the course of a couple of weeks to get some data for you if that's what you need. But as it stands right now, I don't have anything like that.
Thank you, Craig. Are there any other questions from the attendees? Okay, and I got here useful for simulation, but standard cycles can be tried. Thanks. Okay, well, I think that if this is it, if we're not getting any more questions, I think we can call it a meeting here. And if any of the attendees have any other questions or require clarification, you can always reach out to me. Can't give any tips or anything, right? But if there's any clarification that's needed, I'd be more than happy to provide it. And then, if further clarification is needed, the rest of the team can join in as well and provide any sort of clarity that is required for you all to submit a proposal. With that said, just want to say thank you to everyone that showed up. I want to say thank you to Lucia, Cliff, and Craig for being here, providing insight, helping to answer some of these questions. And we hope to see proposals from everyone that's in attendance. That'd be great. And again, if anything comes up or you all need any clarity, feel free to reach out. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks very much.
Bye.